Okay, thank you so much for your opening comments. Mr. Baker, if you would like to go next.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to be here this evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Joseph Casper Baker III. I'm running for City Council District 3. The reason for me wanting to run is I feel that my experience and my background give me a unique perspective on how we can move the city forward. I am a technologist, a futurist at heart. That's how I make my living. As we move forward into this information age, it is imperative that we have leadership that understands the opportunities and challenges that will come from that technology. As far as my platform goes, it really can be divided down very simply into kind of two columns. One is an investment in our infrastructure of the city. When we look around the city, we have a lot of challenges, especially when it relates to the conditions of our roads and our sidewalks, the stormwater sewer system, and there is an opportunity there for us to make major improvements. I want to see us have a dedicated funding source to address those things, to have maintenance put in place on an annual basis. The other major column that I have there is an investment in people. I want to see us investing in educational opportunities, not only for our children, raising our investment in the school system, but also providing educational opportunities for folks to get the ability to run their own business, to get job skills, vocational training. As we get opportunities to expand construction in Birmingham, as we've seen recently, we need to have our people able to participate in that new economic activity. So just as an opening statement, that's where my concerns are: infrastructure and our people.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Baker. Okay. If you could change one thing in your district, what would it be?
Well, if I had to be quippy about it, I'd say my city councilor, but but as a practical matter, I go back to what I was saying earlier. In District 3, one of our biggest concerns is the state of infrastructure throughout this district. We have a lot of rundown roads that have not received the care and concern that they need. The sidewalks are in really pretty poor shape. And, we have drainage issues with the storm sewer system. But that's really a concern that goes citywide. And I like what Ms. Webb said about finding other counselors to work with. This is really important for us to build coalitions with our other counselors. One, so that we can get the votes to pass something, but two, we need to be focused on what our shared issues are. So, that improving that communication and then finding a way to fund making these improvements in city services is something that's very important to me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Baker. What will you do as a counselor to ensure your residents have a variety of grocery stores, even offering fresh foods, whole foods, and markets, restaurants, even possible food trucks in your district? And who would like to go first? We can start with Mr. Baker this time.
Well, I will say that fortunately, District 3 is not the worst when it comes to the access to food in the city. But I do want to see us work on a citywide initiative to make good quality, nutritious food available to everyone. We need to evaluate how we can have pop-up farmers markets or maybe small neighborhood groceries that are available to folks within walking distance of their homes. And above and beyond that, a particular concern in making good quality food available to people is pre-K nutrition for children. The truly formative years of a child's life are the first couple of years of their existence. And if they do not have a stable environment, if they don't have good nutrition, that affects not only their educational outcomes, but it affects their entire lives, their behavior, their ability to earn a good living. And really that's a particular core interest of mine, is making sure that people have access to that.
Thank you for that. Okay. All right. So let me ask, so we'll move on to the next question as we continue to move forward here. If elected as a counselor for your district, what does day one look like for you? And I see that everyone's on mute. So who would like to go first? You want me to start with you, Joseph? Okay, thank you,
Sure.
Mr. Baker.
Day one is really going to be twofold. One is getting to be familiar with my fellow counselors and trying to establish rapport with them. And then the other side is reaching out to the various businesses, nonprofits, neighborhood leadership, community leadership, and others that are involved in District 3 and really around the city, and again establishing that rapport and figuring out what they have going on, how I can support them, how I can connect them with resources and information. I am the founder of I Believe in Birmingham, a local activist group. It's currently close to 28,000 members on the Facebook page. And so that's a resource that I fully intend to leverage as a counselor to connect folks, not just in my district, but again, across the city. And it's something that has been a passion of mine for the last 11 years. I believe that we're stronger when we work together. And so that's really priority one for me is finding people to work with.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I just want to point out, so we're going to make a quick shift here, but in recent years, we've seen a lot of development in the city of Birmingham. One of the things that has been missing is what sort of support would you provide to small business owners and entrepreneurs so they can take advantage? For example, I served on the Industrial Development Board. There are a number of boards where you can go to have for tax incentives to be, for different tax incentives and other things to invest. So what additional support would you provide to small companies as a city council and for entrepreneurs here in the city of Birmingham? And Mr. Baker, okay,
sure.
Go for it.
Small business is really the lifeblood of the American economy. One of the key tenets of my platform is providing educational resources for people, particularly adults who want to start businesses. We need to be training them on how to do that, what they need to expect, how to, do billing, hire people, do their business taxes, et cetera. That is something, a resource that we need to provide. And as far as our already established businesses, we need to be looking at providing support for them to expand, connecting them with resources and opportunities, providing them with information about the city and the community at large so that they can make informed decisions for their business. So, it's really that twofold, provide education for folks who want to become a business, and then folks who are already in business, providing them the information and resources necessary to keep growing. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Baker.
So I'm a strong believer in data-driven governance. If we want to have an effective governance, we need to know what's going on and where it's happening. There is a project in the works that has been going on for some time, of which GASP is a part, to build air quality sensors. They are being done at Red Mountain Makers, which is a group that I'm a part of. They're a maker space here in Birmingham that focuses on being a development platform space for people. But specifically, these air quality monitors are constructed by my friend Daniel and the group there. And they're going to be deployed around the city to monitor air quality, and they can look at all kinds of different data sets that will give us information that we can see where stuff is happening, where it's coming from, and where it's going. So we need to be able to expand that program and others like it so that we know who are the offenders, and then we have actionable data to work with. When I think about the polluters in North Birmingham, it really comes down to the Coke plant, and I think that maybe it's 2 Coke plants, but they were recently up for reapproval of their license to operate, and of course that that became a whole thing because of the state government and the county. But, we've had the city council talk about pulling business licenses from some clubs here in town that have had shootings and other problems and whatnot. Why can we not talk about pulling a business license from a polluter that is destroying parts of our community? These are the kinds of conversations that we need to start.
Mhm.
In that, is this a good business and a good fit for our community? And I think in the case of those in particular, they are not.
Well, I would like to say, Jess, and I'm going to turn over to Paul. It's very refreshing to hear from candidates about working together, because we can't have districts working in silos, because we're all part of the city in Birmingham.
This next question, this is something that we've been asking all council candidates. It's one that we'll continue to ask. In 2020, the current administration defunded our Birmingham City school system $0. If you are elected, how would you work to make sure that our Birmingham City schools receive adequate funding?
Do you mind if I jump in? I think one point that needs to be made up front is that the council does not control the budget anymore. In 2016, there was a law that amended the Mayor Council Act of Birmingham that took the budgeting process away from the council and put it in the mayor's office alone. Now, council folks only have an up or down vote on the budget that's brought before them, which really, I think, deprives the city of the opportunity to have conversations about where money needs to go and what it needs to be spent on. It really kind of puts it in one person's hands. I think we need to change that and go back to the way it was before for budgeting, so that we have the variety of input necessary to have this conversation. Education is hugely important. It's a primary part of my platform. And so I'm going to fight tooth and nail to put every dollar that we can into all kinds of educational opportunities, especially for the Birmingham City schools. So, it comes down to what kind of partnerships we can build. And really, a lot of that will come down to getting counselors together. You got to be able to count to 5 to get something done on the council. And so it's really going to be a priority for me to build those relationships on the council so that we can make the push to do these kinds of things.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
So Joseph kind of talked about this, and this is how we'll close out. So we all know the Mayor Council Act has been an ongoing issue for years. We've all heard it play out in the council meeting. We've seen it on the news. We've seen it all different ways. If you are elected, what changes would you like to see made? Why or why not? And anybody can go first.
I'm going to jump in on this one. First and foremost is undoing the changes that were made in 2016. The two kind of primary categories that happened there was, as I mentioned before, budgeting was taken away from the council. The other was appointments to various boards and agencies in the city. Birmingham, unlike a lot of places, has, for a long story, variety of reasons, parsed out different management aspects of the city, whether it be the parks, the airport, zoning, and several other things, to lots of different committees and boards. And the council previously was the one who controlled who was appointed to those boards. And now you have the council appointing some of them and the mayor appointing others. And again, it goes back to my point about needing a diversity and variety of input into these decisions about the community, which is why I believe that belongs back into councilors' hands. And I think it wouldn't be a surprise to say that I would also like to sneak term limits into into a change. I think that we need to have a turnover in leadership on a regular basis. And beyond that, I'd also like to see us evaluate the use of ranked choice voting in municipal elections. For those unfamiliar, that would be where you go in and you have several candidates for a particular position. You say, well, I like this person best. I like that person second best. I like this person third best. And then they tabulate that data, and the person who receives the greatest amount of support is the one who ends up with the position. And so it's a way to not just say, well, it's A or B, or C. It's like, well, A is best, but if A can't get it, then B is okay too. So those are just a few of the changes that I think could really benefit our governance here in Birmingham, and provide more input from the public through their representatives. Thank you for having us again this evening. It was a great opportunity to go over some of the concerns and issues facing our city today. On August 24th, I would welcome the voters of District 3 to cast their vote for me. I believe that I have the experience necessary to do this job. I have the connections in the community and have put in the work to be connected and to find partnerships to work on things in this community. I have a firm belief in our future of this city. I want to put forth the effort to bring new talent and new investment into the city to strengthen our systems of governance and to provide better quality services for everyone who is a resident of Birmingham, not just the citizens of District 3, but for everyone. We may be elected by a district, but we are called a city councilor. And so I take that very seriously. And so I'm going to be looking to work with everyone that I can in this community to make it a better place. And so I invite you to check out my website, and you can find me on all forms of social media. All of it is Elect JCB3, electjcb3.com, and Elect JCB3 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And you can donate to my candidacy using that same tag. So that's the message for the future for us all.